in Spain, huh? Whether you have made that decision or you're just contemplating it, this guide should help you out. Utilizing buses and trains for travel within Spanish cities can save you good money to put somewhere else. Just bear that in mind. Don't hesitate to try them. Once you do, you don't want to use any other mode of transportation. They're just convenient and cheaper. Exploring Spain by train is not just about getting from point A to B. It's an opportunity to view the passing landscapes, appreciate Spanish culture from higher and moving ground, in addition to the simple joy of just having that journey itself. It's a medium to an adventure, and an affordable one at that. However, figuring out the train system in a foreign country can be confusing. Without prior knowledge, getting into Madrid's Atocha railway station, for example, can be confusing. You can get lost figuring out how to proceed. That train station even has a natural garden inside it, adding to the confusion. Same thing goes on Barcelona Sants train station. Remember, you're not there to get lost. You're there to enjoy a vacation. So keep watching. The confusion usually comes from how to book, type of tickets, types of train services available, and what apps to use. And lastly, the train station layout itself can get you dizzy. Regarding the train layout, accessing a train in Spain is somewhat similar to how you would access a plane in an airport. Well, let's do a brain exercise here. What two questions come to mind when you first get into an airport? I'll answer that for you. 1. How do you get to the departure level? 2. How to locate your airline check-in. This same concept applies to riding trains in Spain. 1. Locate departures level / Salidas. 2. Your train operator's check-in aisle. The train operator's name is on your ticket. And once you're at the Salidas, remember, that's Spanish for departures, just look for their office, same way you'd look for your airline check-in spot. Renfe is the most popular train operator in Spain, so you would see that sign everywhere. Same thing goes on Avlo, Ouigo and Iryo. Most big train stations in Spain will do luggage control like in an airport. Smaller cities like Alicante will skip that for slower trains, but accessing high-speed trains called AVE in Spain will require that you scan your luggage. The two other questions that you need to figure out are: 1. What number is my train platform? 2. How do I access my train platform? Platform in Spanish is via. The platform number for your train will be displayed on the screen. There are lots of departures screens at the departures level. Just find the platform number matching the train number on your ticket. Then the signs will direct you to that platform. Most train stations will have staffed ticket offices. Feel free to ask them for info. So far, we answered 4 questions. The other remaining easy questions are: 1. Locating the carriage number. 2. Locating your seat number. These 2 pieces of information are in your ticket. Carriage in Spanish is called Coche. Seat is called Plaza. This video will teach you all about this. How to read and interpret the departure screen, how to interpret the signs for platform access, how to locate your train carriage and seat. Now for train types, all you have to know is this. AVE trains are super fast. Non-AVE trains are fast. As for tickets, Basico, Estandar, Turista are economy / second class, usually non-refundable. Premium is first class. If you will also be visiting France or had visited before and use the SNCF app, just use that app to book the Ouigo train. SNCF is the official French railway operator app.
you.